Hi, it's Phil, and I've come to share with you my next word in the alphabet of achievement. And today it's the letter V, and the word is vision. I grew up as a child being taken to chapel, and the number of times I must have heard the preacher say, "Without a vision, the people perish. Without a vision, the people perish." And of course, you're little and things just go over your head. But I knew that it was obviously important to have vision. If I took nothing else from it, I did learn that there was an emphasis in the teaching that I was hearing on vision. And whatever it actually meant, I knew that perishing didn't sound good, and I knew the way to avoid it was to have vision. So, from a child, I've known this word was important, and now as an adult, I realise just how important it is. Jonathan Swift said that vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. It is initially personal. Now, people can share their vision and others can come alongside and become part of that vision. They can acknowledge it, they can accept it, and they can take it on board. But it has to be generated within ourselves. We need to have that sense of seeing the invisible that others don't see. You have to see it to be it. You know, very often people think, well, if you want to make something, then you make it, and when it's finished, it exists. And there is a sense of truth in that. But that's not how it truly works. Because in reality, until someone has seen it in the invisible, it cannot appear in the visible. Until it is a concept in someone's mind, it can't become a reality in someone's world. If you drive down the road and you see a beautiful house, you know that before the first brick was laid, somewhere, someone sat in an office with all the tools available and drew the plans for that house. Someone visualized that house before it took shape. And that's how it is in our lives, folks. You have to see it to be it. You have to have the vision of it in order to build it. If not, how do you know when it's finished? How do you know that it actually is what you set out to build? If there's no prototype, there's no planning, there's nothing there. So before there was anything, there was something. The idea becomes a vision, which becomes a project, which becomes a reality. I remember a time when Caroline and I were involved in a project, and the project was quite extensive, and we had to raise hundreds of thousands of pounds in order to develop a community project that we were leading at the time. And when we set out, we didn't have a lot of capital. And I remember employing an architect and asking the architect if he could give us some plans to build this building that I envisaged and that I wanted to see created so that we could have a facility that was central to serving our community. And he came along and looked at the job, did the plans, and he asked me if I wanted to price it. And I said, well, perhaps it wouldn't be a good idea for you to price it if it's going to cost more than £3,000, because that's all I've got. And this chap laughed. I found out later why he laughed, because it cost me £2,500 to get the plans and £500 to get the planning permission. So by the time I had the drawings up on the wall, we had no money left at all. There was nothing in the coffers. But here's an interesting thing. I heard later that a comment had been made at the time, and I realised in fullness of time that it was true. You don't need the money at the moment. All you need is the vision and planning permission. And folks, we had the vision. He drew the plans. They gave the permission. And 5 years later, the building stood on the very spot, and it looked exactly as we imagined. And it had the doors that we wanted, and it had the fixtures and fittings that we chose, and everything was complete. And when we invited Lord Kinnock to come down and open that project, the day he opened it was not the day that that project was created, because that project came into being long before we employed a builder, long before we laid a brick, long before we had any money in the bank, because we had the vision. Without the vision, it wouldn't have happened. I've learned that lesson time and time and time again in my life. And at this point in my life, as I've mentioned before, I'm now over the halfway line of 58. I've got less than 18 months to go to my 60th birthday. Caroline and I have got plans and dreams and ideas of how life's going to be when I turn 60, and what we want to see and do and achieve and accomplish in that decade that's coming. And we are making the preparations. We are putting things in place. But most of all, we've got a clear vision of where we want to be. And folks, because we've got that vision, then I'm confident that we're going to see the things we want to see. And we're going to experience the things we want to experience, and we're going to accomplish the things we want to accomplish. And I want to say to you today, the most important of all, if you want to really see it happen, you'd better see it now. You need to get it in your head and in your heart, because it's things that are conceived in the head and things that are held in the heart that become a reality in time and space. No one else is going to see it until you've seen it, and you need to see it before you make it. That is vision, and that is vital. Well, I'll see you again soon with the next letter of this alphabet. Until then, take care. Bye.